الله بالخير. لعل المشهد المالي والجيوسياسي العالمي حافل بالتوتر والغموض. السياسة الأمريكية بحواراتها المفاجئة ومغامراتها الاقتصادية تهز التحالفات القديمة وتحدث تصدعات جديدة من خطوط المواجهة في شرق أوروبا إلى ممرات السلطة في آسيا. المشهد بين واشنطن وموسكو وبكين واليابان ولاعبين إقليميين آخرين ينبئ بفوضى قريبة، كل خطوة قد تعيد رسم موازين القوى. ما تأثير حرب الإبادة في غزة والعمليات الإسرائيلية في المنطقة في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية والدوائر الانتخابية الرئيسية فيها؟ هل الإنفاق الهائل لأصحاب المليارات الإسرائيليين للسيطرة على الخطاب السياسي في أمريكا سيصبح قضية أوسع نطاقا تتعلق بالتعديل الأول للدستور الأمريكي؟ هل التدخلات العسكرية الأمريكية في سيادة الدول فعالة وقانونية؟ وهل تخدم حقا مصالح واشنطن؟ ماذا يحدث مع روسيا وفي منطقة الكاريبي ومع اليابان؟ هل باتت صدقية الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية تتضاءل وتتلاشى؟ نرحب بكم ونرى ونسمع أكثر ونغوص في الشقوق العميقة والمخاطر الخفية ونبحث جذور المشهد الحالي مع القاضي أندرو نابوليتانو، القاضي السابق في المحكمة العليا في ولاية نيوجيرسي في البعد الأقرب. هذه الميادين وأنا زينب صفار، خليكم ويانا. Judge Andrew Napolitano, former New Jersey Superior Court judge and the host of Judging Freedom podcast. Salam and welcome to Al Mayadeen. This is the Proximate Aspect. I'm Zeinab Al Saffar. How are you doing, Judge?
I'm fine, my dear friend. It's a pleasure to be with you.
It's our pleasure. So grateful for your time, sir. Well, let's dive into the heart of the matter today. Israel's mainstream narrative is largely ignoring accusations of war crimes and genocide in Gaza, instead framing its actions as a justified outpouring of anger and just moving on. The societal conversation has grown more ultra-nationalist, with Palestinians often dehumanized and their suffering disregarded, unfortunately. Whereas a recent US 6-day poll showed that most Americans, including 80% of Democrats and 41% of Republicans, they think the United States should recognize Palestinian statehood. Judge, how do you feel the war in Gaza and the Israeli raving across our region is impacting in the US today and the key constituencies there?
Well, it has had a dramatic impact, certainly among young people. The support for a Palestinian state and the condemnation of the Israeli genocide is about 80 to 85%, according to the polls, amongst people of both political parties under the age of 40. Even the president's so-called MAGA base is harshly critical of his attachment to the Netanyahu regime and of his funding the genocide. The president and his people, of course, won't use the word genocide, but it is widely used and widely recognized in the United States as one of the most horrific post-World War II events in the entire world.
Mhm.
It has also it has also brought a lot of attention
Mhm.
to the horrific plight of the Palestinian people, to their repression and oppression by the Zionist government. It's really been a remarkable turnabout in just 2 years since the October 7th
Mhm.
effort by the Palestinians to liberate themselves from their occupier. So, in the public relations war in the United States, the Netanyahu regime has failed miserably.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Now, the U.S. intense pressure today on Israel to abide by the terms of the ceasefire. Of course, the Israelis never do, and proceed to the next stage of the plan, which is a bit ambiguous and foggy, is bringing relations between the two countries to a boil. Senior Israeli officials cautioned this is an historic law in the very close but also very complex relations between Israel and the Trump administration. And it seems, Judge, that the worst is yet to come. What are they saying here, Judge?
I wish I knew. I mean, this is really a ceasefire that was not negotiated with one of the parties involved. It was a Netanyahu, Donald Trump, take it or leave it. It was done with a threat to almost literally with a gun to the head of the Hamas negotiators. The Netanyahu regime is not happy with it, but they don't plan on complying with the ceasefire. They just used it as a ruse,
Mhm.
as a trick to get their hostages back. And Hamas has used it as a means to stop the incessant bombing, and hopefully they can rearm in the interim. Look, from the Hamas perspective, they are freedom fighters seeking to repel an unjust occupier.
Mhm.
That view
So you
that I
don't
just
consider,
articulated, no, no, let me finish. That
please.
view
Mm.
that Hamas are freedom fighters seeking to repel an unjust aggressor was once anathema in the United States. You couldn't even say that
Mhm.
in private, much less in public. It's now articulated in public. That's how badly the Israelis have lost the public relations war here.
Mhm. So no longer many or a large swathe of the Americans consider what they term in perhaps the MSM and the corporate media that Hamas are terrorists. They are, according to you and to many of the constituencies in the US of A, they are freedom fighters.
Yes,
Mhm, mhm,
yes. Now, look, private entities and colleges and universities are punishing employees and punishing students for saying that. But the feeling that I've just articulated to you is becoming more and more widespread. It has entered the mainstream of MAGA. That's the president's political base. You know that
mhm.
phrase, MAGA, Make
Make
America Great
America
Again.
great
Right,
again.
right, right. It has entered that mainstream. It
Mhm.
was about to be embraced by the late Charlie Kirk before he was murdered.
Assassinate, yes.
And people say it more openly and more freely than before October 7th.
Mhm. Today, Judge, do you think the massive spending by Israeli billionaires to control the narrative in the US of A is going to become a wider First Amendment issue? And today also there is a new wave of activism that actually lives and breathes online. Can it survive the algorithmic chokehold of Silicon Valley?
I don't know about that. I mean, the Chinese government once owned TikTok. It's now owned by one of these Zionist billionaires who's buddies with the president. But you know, my friend, and we're both in the same business, and we both know this. The truth has a way of coming out, and the billionaires can buy up all the media they want, but that causes alternative media like mine, like Judging Freedom, to flourish. They can't buy or won't buy the alternative media. And as long as we're still out there, we will continue to articulate the truth as we understand it to be. However, the Zionist billionaires are fabulously rich. They have a stranglehold on the Congress. Right now, they have a stranglehold on the president. You know, he's a little tough to predict, and he changes his mind from one day to the next. And even a friend can push him too far, and he'll strike out at the friend. And I suspect that that may happen with the Zionists. I don't know.
Hmm.
But to repeat what I said before, all of that Zionist money, and it is in the many, many billions, has not succeeded in winning the PR war here. The Israelis have lost it terribly, not even by a close call.
Right. Now let's talk Russia, sir. Trump cancelled the Budapest meeting with Putin, muttering to the media that it would have been, quote unquote, a waste of time, imposing new sanctions on Russia's largest oil companies, accompanied by a call to US allies to join with them. Of course, President Putin is angry. Many Russian red lines have been crossed. Escalation is underway, is coming, perhaps at an unprecedented level, as observers note. Judge, you have just come back from a visit to Russia. What's the proximate aspect here? Is any negotiation at this point feasible or plausible, and why it matters?
I think negotiation is feasible and plausible because Donald Trump, and I believe, I know this from my friend Sergei Lavrov, I don't know it from President Putin, and the Russians are interested in a grand reset. They are not interested in just ending the special military operation. They're interested in a grand reset of relationships between the two countries, actually between the three countries. It would be United States, Russia, and China. That would open up a political, academic, social, cultural, economic norms as they once existed. Look, the Americans note the sanctions have not laid a glove on Russia. In fact, Russia is more prosperous today than it was before the Joe Biden initiated, Donald Trump continued sanctions were imposed. So as irritating as these sanctions may be, they were personally irritating for me. I mean, I couldn't fly directly to Russia. So what would have been a 10-hour flight became a 20-hour flight because I had to fly via Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dubai is beautiful, but out of the way. These sanctions, though irritable, irritating, and frustrating,
Mm-hmm.
have not impaired the military of Russia. They have not impaired uh, the Russian economy. I mean, I heard the president say, while I was there, I heard President Trump say, and there are gas lines in Moscow. There are no gas lines in Moscow. At least I didn't see any. And if you do the calculation of dollars per gallon to rubles per liter, gas costs more in Manhattan than it does
True.
in Moscow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. On the personal level, Judge, do you face any troubles for visiting Russia at this point in time?
No, no. Some of my friends and even some of my relatives were worried about me until I told them it was safer there than where I am now in the middle of New York City.
Yes. Now, yes, are U.S., and I need your opinion here, are U.S. military interventions effective, legal, and do they truly serve U.S. interests? What are your impressions vis-à-vis the disproportionate influence of certain interest groups in U.S. foreign policy decisions, sir?
Well, the Zionists, of course, have tremendous control
Mm-hmm.
over U.S. Foreign policy. So much control that many of us here often ask, does Trump control Netanyahu or does Netanyahu control Trump? But American hegemony has been disastrous even for America. Going back to the end of World War II, the latest hegemonic monstrosity is what we expect to be an invasion of Venezuela. Venezuela, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Venezuela doesn't pose any threat whatsoever to the national security of the United States. It is not a central producer of drugs, illicit drugs that make their way here. it's Trump and his oligarchs looking to control Venezuelan oil, which we all know what their ultimate goal is. But to kill people over oil is just a violation of the Constitution, violation of American law, violation of international law.
Right. 1 week, and allow me here to be a bit more detailed in my intro of this question that I'm going to ask you, just for our followers to have a sense of what's going on. After taking office, the Prime Minister of Japan, Sanae Takaichi, openly expressed support for China, executing the biggest foreign policy pivot since World War II. So China was no longer the enemy. A new era in Asia has arrived, it seems, and Trump is in shock. He accused Takaichi of betraying the principles of free trade. But worst was to come. According to the polls, it showed that the Prime Minister enjoyed 60% support for her stance on Japanese economic independence, and more than 50% supported her position on China. A further bombshell, Sir, Takaichi has begun, in conjunction with China and South Korea, a strategically recalibration of Asia's monetary architecture in response to Washington's growing use of economic power as leverage. So China, Japan, and South Korea are building a common currency area. Is the U.S. credibility waning and slipping away, especially in financial architecture and security?
The short answer to that is yes. The longer answer is it is ridiculous to hear Donald Trump, and you know the president is a personal friend of mine. He doesn't like when I criticize him, but he is my friend for many years. But it is ridiculous to hear Donald Trump criticize someone as not being in favor of free trade. The president is not in favor of free trade. The president thinks he can control trade around the world because of his unilateral, illegal, unconstitutional imposition of tariffs. I think that the president's imposition of these tariffs has caused the Shanghai Cooperation Agreement to expand, BRICS to expand, the Russians to become self-sufficient. I think the president is ill-advised and is doing the wrong thing with the tariffs. I praise what the Prime Minister of Japan has done. The United States will soon no longer be the economic powerhouse it once was. The dollar will not be the medium of exchange, certainly not for oil. And all of this is because the Americans don't believe in free trade anymore. They just believe in whatever they think they can do to make America more dominant. When the United States goes about the world, whether it's Venezuela or Ukraine, looking for monsters to slay, it doesn't spread democracy, it spreads violence and death. I wish Donald Trump would recognize that.
So given the loud debates on Capitol Hill and all this budget wrangling, does America still have the muscle to lead on the world stage, sir?
America has the muscle to lead on the world stage, but America is misguided. Misguided because the president keeps changing his mind, misguided because he's fighting wars that he said he would end, misguided because he said he would have a modest foreign policy. Instead, he has a bullying foreign policy. So if Donald Trump, the president, acted like Donald Trump, the candidate, America would have the strength to do what it wants to do, and there'd be a lot more peace on the planet.
So would coercion be effective against Iran? What authority do Americans possess to dictate what a country should or shouldn't do, or if it possesses nuclear industry or energy?
America has no such authority. The best thing for the Middle East, the best thing for the Middle East would be for Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. That would keep the Israelis at bay, and that would be a great safeguard to peace in the Middle East. The Israelis have no legal or moral authority whatsoever to tell Iran how to run its government. The United States has no legal or moral authority whatsoever. The only country in the world that has used an atomic bomb against another country is the United States of America. Who are we to tell Iran how to live?
My last question, sir. America has always leaned on its alliances, but with allies in Europe and Asia now worried about U.S. reliability due to policy vicissitudes. What's your advice for Arab leaders watching these shifts from Washington?
You know, the Arab leaders should, as Ronald Reagan once said, trust but verify. The United States does not always keep its word. The United States lured Hezbollah negotiators into a trap so the Israelis could murder them. The United States lured Iranian negotiators into a trap so that the Israelis could murder them. The United States is not only faithful to its word. The Arab leaders should support the right to self-determination of the Palestinians, and they should support the right of the Palestinians to have their own state, come what may.
Right. And what's your final word to the people of Gaza and to Gaza?
There are many more people in the world who feel your pain and understand the horrors that were visited upon you. Stay the course, stay the plow. Keep fighting for freedom.
Right, Judge Andrew Napolitano, an illustrious personality. Lovely talking to you indeed, sir. Much obliged.
Thank you, my dear friend. All the best. We'll do it again soon.
Hopefully. Thank you. نعم، بينما يختبر قادة العالم الخطوط الحمراء وتتصدع التحالفات، فإن التقلبات في كل من الجغرافيا السياسية والأسواق المالية لا تترك مجالا لليقين، إلا أن التصعيد وعدم القدرة على التنبؤ هما ما يميز هذه الحقبة. اليوم تقف الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وروسيا والصين ودول أخرى على حافة المواجهة أو إعادة تنظيم جذرية، وقد تحدث طريقة تعاملها مع الأزمة المقبلة تغييراً جذرياً في النظام العالمي. في هذه اللحظة الحرجة يبقى السؤال الحقيقي: من سيضع قواعد اللعبة المقبلة ومن سيجبر على التزامها؟ من كل الميادين حياكم.